explore the wisdom of the revered Narada Bhakti Sutras, a cornerstone of Hindu devotion, with His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda. Experience 45 enlightening lessons on the essence of Bhakti Yoga. Discover the path to pure love for God and transcend the material world. Embrace the teachings that have guided devotees for centuries. Attain spiritual perfection through devotion. Prepare to understand the depths of divine love. Find your path to spiritual enlightenment. Trust in the sutras. Follow these instructions. Be blessed with devotion. And now, His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Vasudev Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Narada Bhakti Sutras, this is Sutra number 25. We are talking about the path of devotion, path of divine love. Yoga has 4 major aspects. Path of action is called Karma Yoga. Path of feeling, emotion, that relates to Bhakti Yoga. The path that deals with willpower. It's a path of meditation called Dhyana Yoga. And the path that deals with the reasoning within you, reason that is led to become intuitive. That's called Jnana Yoga, the yoga of wisdom. So always keep in view these 4 yogas. They are interconnected. And your personality is an integration of 4 aspects: action, emotion, will, and reason. So if you advance on the spiritual path, all these 4 aspects have to go through change, an interconnected process. There must be harmonious development in all the 4 aspects. If it is not so, your progress will be delayed, or it may be you may move away from real progress. Being one-sided is easy for the mind. And it is a subtle point that needs to be understood, because it creates in the mind a sense of confusion. Because there is a general saying, you always adopt one path. Eka hi sadhe sab sadhe. Perfect one thing, others will come perfect. So one who is following the path of devotion says, why to practice any other path? This is the best and I'll just follow it. The path of karma, action, you say this ultimately goodness of your heart is to be brought out in action. So why not focus on action instead of going into all the talks about God and liberation? Do good to people. Each sounds good, you see. Another says, just meditate. Another says, stop all that. Just let's exercise your reason. If you became one-sided, then that will be a negative involvement. Just like strings in a veena, they must coordinate. A musician will not just hold on to one string, will move through many strings. Your personality doesn't hold on to one aspect. This point I have pointed out before, so I will not lose too much time in that area. But you must realize that if you feel that action is easy for you, or devotion is easy for you, if action is easy for you, you are called karma yogi. Devotion is spontaneous, then you are called bhakti yogi. If meditation becomes more engrossing to you, called dhyana yogi. Or if you can listen and reflect upon Vedantic teaching, aham brahmasmi, they are called jnana yogi. People are recognized according to these four yogas. But you have to always understand that if you are, say, a Jnana yogi, pursuing the path of knowledge, automatically your feeling of the heart has changed. So no one can turn to God and have a very stinky feeling, you see. The feeling has to waft fragrance. So bhakti comes in automatically. But if you stay in a lesser level and depend upon the mental cleverness, study with Vedantic, some people do that. Whole night they pass through studying the book, and by the morning they say, oh, I have studied everything now. I can exactly tell you how to deal with Tat Tvam Asi, what is Tat, what is Tvam, and how they become Asi. It's not an intellectual play. But if you are one-sided, that's the type of error you will create. You may have intellectual knowledge, but you are far from real experience. Real experience comes when the integration has taken place in your action, in your emotion, in your will, and in your reason. So it's very secure method to blend all four in daily life. And whichever becomes more important for you, you can identify yourself as karma yogi, bhakti yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogi, or you can be just yogi, integral yogi. It is safer always to secure bhakti yoga. Because if bhakti, devotion to God, has not entered your heart, you cannot be any yoga, neither karma yogi, nor dhyana yogi, nor jnana. Heart has become involved in the spiritual process. Therefore, Narada Bhakti Sutras is highlighting the need of bhakti, devotion. Satu karma jnana yogo bhyopi adhiktara. Bhakti yoga is greater than action, knowledge, and meditation. Just to give you a simple understanding, if you are a doer of great good things and you have a lot of talent, a lot of resources to do good to humanity in different ways, Day and night you get involved in relieving the misery of people, helping them in various ways. It's wonderful. But in the absence of devotion to God, karmas, the more you get involved in karmas, they build in your mind ego, subtle ego. I am doing all these things. I'm more practical than those people who sit in meditation, those people who talk of Brahman and so forth. See, that subtle ego gets into inside. So simply performing a lot of action has created good karma for you, which will bring in a wonderful new personality in next birth. But it will not lead you to liberation, because your subtle ego is there that separates you from God within. So even for karma yoga to be perfect, you have to bring into your life other yogas, little bit of Dhyana yoga, little bit of meditation, devotion. Then only your actions will become real yoga. The story of a man who was giving in charity, a very rich man. Each time he gave away wealth and he kept his eyes down. Someone asked him, why do you do that? He said that he doesn't want to be recognized as the giver. The giver is God. And that sense of humility made him, and shyness about it, that people are recognizing me as the giver. But who am I? If you adore a bulb, the bulb gets shy. Who is the giving the light into it? If devotion is secured, then even if you do not pursue other yogas consciously, they blend in your personality. Mothers are not always given the training of how to deal with the child. But there is a love for the child that makes young mothers do everything needed, learn everything needed to help the child. So love brings in many other things automatically. So the love of God, action, meditation, and wisdom, they will join in. In the Ramayana, one statement I will just quote for you. जहाँ लगी साधन वेद बखानी सब कर फल हरि भगति भवानी. The Vedas have described so many paths leading to liberation. So many disciplines. But what excels all is developing devotion to God. If devotion is there, then all your austerities, your disciplines have meaning. If devotion is not there and you have just done a lot of austerity and lot of japa and whatever, all that will become meaningless. ईश्वरस्यापि अभिमानदेशित्वात् दैन्यप्रियत्वात् च sutra is explaining how devotion melts down your ego. The ego is the greatest barrier between God and the soul. If you are doing simply karma yoga, your ego continues to exist. If you don't do a lot of meditations, you build up a subtle ego, I am a great yogi. If you know a lot of intellectual knowledge, you develop the subtle ego within yourself of being a great pandit, a great scholar. And you find subtle impurities of the mind don't go away by your knowledge. Everybody knows anger is useless. Knowledge doesn't help. You can go on reading voluminous books about it, what anger does and what are the... And in India, there are so many writings on it. But anger will go away the moment you have spirit of love. Divine love automatically sweetens all your sentiments towards others. God dislikes ego or pride in his devotee. And a devotee who is bereft of pride, is full of humility, is very dear to him. You'll find an echo of the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor. The poor implied one who feels nothing belongs to. I am nothing. The scriptures illustrate this point in a very elegant way. I will give you two illustrations. King Bali was a powerful personality of his time. He belonged to Asura race. Asuras are more rajasic. And yet he attained greatness by doing acts of charity as well as devotion to God. He engaged himself in the performance of sacrifice and giving away lots of things in charity. God wanted to give him some lesson. So while he was busy doing acts of charity, God appeared in the form of a dwarf. He walked into the royal assembly and said, I have come to ask for alms. That was begging. I'm a recipient of your charity. Give me, I have something to ask you. The king was pleased. Ask anything. I will give you. Even if you ask for my life, I give you. And this dwarf personality said, I need only 3 steps of land. And Bali became highly insulted that someone disturbs him in this performance of profound sacrifice, where boundless charity is being given. Here some kid comes in and says he wants only 3 steps of land. However, kept his mind cool, because if coolness is disturbed, then his religious act will be defective. So he told him, why don't you ask for more? Ask for a village, ask for a land. He said, no. Just 3 steps. Then Bali said, all right, I'm giving. And with a ritual act of offering 3 steps, he poured water through a particular vessel with mantras. And then when he turned to the dwarf had become majestic, cosmic form. With 1 step, he measured the whole earth, all the physical plane. With the 2nd step, he measured all that is. And said, according to your word, give me the 3rd step. He said, you have taken away everything. Now, put that step on my head. And Bali became extremely blessed because God stripped him of all he had, including his ego. This is an allegorical story that applies to everyone. Generally, people reading it don't understand. They think once upon a time it happened. It is a story just like Krishna and Arjuna. It applies to everybody. In your spiritual process, you have to deal with Vaman incarnation, that is dwarf incarnation. Deep down, God asks you to understand nothing belongs to me. The spirit of humility enters your heart. And in a very simple way, that is humility, it strips you of all you possess. How? Your mind understands ego has no reality. All is God's, not mine. Nothing exists, nothing belongs to me. I'm neither mind nor body, immortal self am I. That's the moral of the story of Bali. Now, another illustration. On the spiritual path, devotion to God cannot exist along with your ego. Ego referring to pride. If you are proud of anything, I'm referring proud not of good quality. If you are proud of good quality, that's bravo. But if you are proud of pride, conceit, any form of conceit, any form of egoistic view about yourself is disliked by God. Why does he dislike it? Because he likes you more. When a child has put in a straw in his mouth, you dislike that straw. I'm talking about rotting straw. I'm not talking about wheatgrass. Similarly, if you have developed devotion to God, and God is after you, will not let you have even the slightest negative quality. Your own conscience begins to pinch you fast. That's one way of God's pulling your ears. And situations and circumstances develop so fast. The moment you have an illusion about your ego and you become conceited, something happens that crashes your pride. If you understand it well, if in those situations you learn to surrender, and not to develop a sense of frustration, rather sense of joy. Adversities sometimes come to you as blessings. Sometimes prosperities come to you as curse. Adversity that brings you closer to God, and you begin to discover you have a boundless source of all that is good and wonderful in the world. Boundless source of Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, truth, beauty, and auspiciousness deep within your heart. And therefore, during adversity, when you discover it, that adversity is a blessing. How to deal with adversity, that one has to learn in a profound way. And that's the secret of keeping the mind free of unnecessary stress. Without it, life will not be qualitative, because you cannot have always what you want. Adversity, prosperity. Things happen the way you want. Sometimes they don't happen. Day and night alternate. Pleasant situation passes on in elation of the mind. If you have been a little thoughtful when something good has happened, you just throw off all caution and no thoughtfulness. Similarly, when the adversity comes, mind becomes dull. Both ways, adversity and prosperity are distracting your mind from your profounder reality, God within you. But converting both experiences as agreeable to devotional movement, that's a great art. In other words, when adversity comes, consider you are coming closer to God. God is giving you an opportunity for austerity, for gaining insight into a profound fact that God is supporting. When adversity comes, you look around for help and then suddenly realize no one can help. Even just ordinary tooth pains. And look at people, what can they do? During that time, you would look within yourself. What am I to do? Who is going to help me? Then you turn to what you have learned, japa, repeat mantras, prayer, surrender to God. And when suddenly you discover that you have energy, strength, and you have resources to correct the problem, then you become much more involved with faith and trust in God. And prosperity comes if you are becoming spiritual. You allow your mental energy, because during prosperous situation, your mind doesn't have that stress, normal stress. Now utilize that mind towards practice of deep meditation, or make some research. Let me do half an hour of mantra japa, let me do 1 hour of meditation, let me do this or that, and see what happens. So you can utilize your mind if you know how to handle prosperity and adversity. And you can gain from both. Therefore, you can gain perpetually, because what else the world can give you? And as devotion advances and closeness with God becomes your reality, the world becomes a leela, play. Interesting story comes from some of the Puranas. Krishna was in his royal assembly. He was on the throne, and great sages and saints and great personalities, they were entertaining the Lord, entertaining all the group of people. There was Narada also. Sage Narada is very famous in all the scriptures. He always holds a veena in his hand, a stringed instrument, and he goes on singing the praises of God. And he's a divine actor. He puts himself in a certain situation to give people lessons. In that royal assembly, there was Hanuman also, Lord Hanuman, another great devotee of God. Hanuman is presented as a monkey, but all this is highly mystical. Your mind is like a monkey. But the same mind, when it becomes steeped with faith in God, becomes not ordinary monkey, Hanuman, who nothing is impossible for him. Crosses over the whole ocean. Touched by faith, your mind can cross over the ocean of illusion. So that's basis. But now Hanuman is there, but he is not in his normal form. He's not recognizable. He's just recognized as a monkey, big monkey leader. And Narada started performing celestial music through his veena, and lots of devotional songs, and people were thrilled. Krishna showed himself as if he was not so thrilled. Narada turned to Lord Krishna. Oh Lord, just to receive his attention, Lord Krishna said, oh Narada, let me see how does this monkey chief plays it. Give that veena to the monkey chief. Because during that time when Narada did it, he developed a sense of big ego that this royal court is the best in the whole world, whole universe. And he thrilled the all people. What a great thing. Surely no one can be a musician like him. The moment Krishna noticed it, he wanted to scratch that ego out of his head. So he said, give that way. Narada was so shocked, insulted, that his wonderful veena should go into the hands of a monkey. The Lord Krishna assured him that no harm will be done to your veena. And the monkey chief is quite an expert in music. Of course, that is a divine order. So Narada, the very disturbed mind, gave the veena to Hanuman. He didn't know he was Hanuman. He just knew this is a monkey chief. And now Hanuman started playing. Not so classical, but something that entered into the heart of all, started singing glory of Rama along with the veena equipment. All were so thrilled. And they entered into a kind of a trance, touched the very heart of people. Narada, of course, also recognized that this is a wonderful and when Hanuman concluded, Krishna asked Narada, how did you like this? It's the most wonderful. I'm thrilled. Then Krishna said, take your veena. Krishna goes, tries to lift his veena. Veena is stuck in the concrete. What happened was, when Hanuman played, stone melted. The figurative description of, if there is a real devotion, the stony heart of a human being melts. You feel only when the heart melts that ego begins to subside. Otherwise, people do sing lots of wonderful things. But all get stuck only at the level of ego. Did I do well? And that's all the comfort people want. Did I do my music? But you must realize, you must go much beyond your ego. Did you enjoy it? Did you feel the touch of God within your heart? Did your eyes shed some tears? Did the spring flow from the stone? So, Narada was shocked that his wonderful Veena has been stuck. While he was puzzled, one of the attendants there in that group, wise man, he said, when Hanuman was singing, it melted, the earth melted. And so, only way it could be taken away, if by singing you again melt it. Krishna said, oh Narada, do that. Narada crouched around that Veena and played his best. It didn't happen anything. Then he asked Hanuman, please, you do it. Hanuman played, and immediately it became soft. Because Narada then realized what Krishna did to him. His subtle ego that he was the greatest was taken away. But when we say God doesn't like one's ego and he robs the ego, it seems like something negative he has done to you. But it's a blessing. If ego moves away, your mind experiences immense joy. The ego keeps the mind restricted. Just like if you are inside the house, you are always looking at the closed roofs and closed doors. But when you are outside, you are looking at the sky. The sky, enormous sky with all the grandeur. Dominated by ego, you are like inside, a confined state, with your diary of all the past things that have happened and all your imaginations for future. But beyond that, you are not clear. And all this creates greater stress in your mind. But when ego is lifted, you are like outside of the house. The whole house has been blown away. Enormous expansion. So God does not like egoistic movement in a devotee. So he is very keen to remove pride or ego in his devotees. Thereby also it implies any other negative quality in a devotee, God is after. Like mother is after a child when child is put his hand in mud or mud around his body, the mother is after him, will not allow even the slightest trace of dirt on his body. And that's a good thing. God is after you. And in general, that's the plan of God. God is constantly after everyone, so that every soul can evolve. But that process is very slow. The moment devotion enters your heart and you become more consciously aware that you are praying, doing mantras, and you want to receive God's grace, you want to attain God realization, the moment that stream of good resolve enters your heart, now God becomes exceedingly interested in you. Generally, question is asked, why should God become partial to his devotees? He should be impartial. The answer is given that when clouds rain, the rain is impartial. But the jars that you have kept to receive the water, if they are not all straight, not have sufficient capacity, and if they are tilted, all jars don't receive the same quantity of water. The tilted ones don't receive at all. But that you do not blame the cloud for partiality. Much in the same way, God's grace showers on all. But whoever has his heart, his mental capacity free of ego, that grace showers in abundance. But when ego has obstructed, really limited your mind, the shower of grace becomes very little. Therefore, devotees in whom the vessel is straight, it becomes overfilled. So God becomes especially gracious to his devotees. Yet there is no partiality in it. And with this, we conclude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.